Well, hello, and welcome to our very special video episode of Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co host, Tracy.
Oh, me? Hey, y'all, it's Tracy.
I figured I'd just like do this. You can see
You
it.
let me do my own. Okay, yes. Hi, it's Tracy.
So, as you said, this is actually our second video, but this one we're actually going to put up. And we've done that because we have a very special guest that we're going to save to the end. But we had a very interesting week. But happy
We
Monday.
did.
We did. We had a very interesting week this week, and we have a couple of things we want to discuss. And this will be airing on Monday the 8th, right? Yeah,
Yes,
Monday the 8th,
a national holiday.
which is Tracy's birthday and our other golden child, Tanya Tillman,
Yes,
birthday. The two Gemini twins, Aries.
girl.
I know you're not Gemini. I'm just saying Gemini twins, but
Okay.
Aries twins. I said Aries. Anyway, I don't want to mess
And
up
in
on the
lieu of
birthday.
a birthday party, just enjoy the solar eclipse.
Do you have your glasses?
No,
I know Tanya said that she was going to get us some. I don't know
they're
if she
supposed
did
to
or not.
have them at
Wait,
don't give me the
Warby
lion, one of
Parker.
those optical places is
Warby
giving them
Parker.
out. Yes, thank you. Thank you
Hmm.
for that.
Because I'm like, maybe I'll try and go by tomorrow and grab a pair just in case I don't meet up with Tanya. But she said because she's coming to Rhode Island. So anyway, but back to our
Mm.
week.
It was very
So we started
cultural.
off the week with, I mean, we did a lot of filming, a lot of film presentations this week. Not us, but we watched a lot. And one of the films that we watched was called Anonymous Sister at Brown University for their Our Storied Health series that they do, and it was about the opioid issue and this one girl. And you know what? I forgot her name. She
The the main character,
It's
not
a
characters, but
documentarian. She was 19 when she started the documentary on her family. And I mean, I must have it in my notes, but it was about her family's ordeal with opioid drugs. Mainly her sister was addicted to oxycodone.
yeah.
And it was very good, very insightful. I learned a lot. I mean, we definitely learned how it affected the country and so many deaths upon it and why it was able to grow as much as it did. And this is the one time where racism kind of saved black people, because at the very beginning they was not prescribing to us these drugs, that they was prescribing these middle class, upper class, blonde haired white women whom they seem to think, or did not conflate their issues. Or but that's a whole nother tale. But it was very interesting to hear and watch, and it was impressive that a 19-year-old would start this whole process. And I think she's
Yeah.
26 now, from her mother and her sister being addicted to these drugs.
You think she's 26
I think
now?
she was like 26, 25 or 26. You thought she was
Okay.
older?
I think she's older now, but that's not the point, people.
Yeah.
what what's interesting is that it was her perspective
Mhm.
of how she recorded this. So she started with humanizing her sister, because the thing to remember
That's
is
the
that
point.
when this addiction is part of people's lives, we tend to forget the human beings behind the abuse, or what we perceive to be drug abuse and the disease and things like that. So she spent a good amount of time on the video humanizing her family and just showing like this, we were just like a normal family, what people from the outside looking in would perceive to be these kind of perfect. They were kind of perfect people. Two
Mhm.
blonde little girls, blonde mother,
Beautiful.
tall, decent looking father. Like they
Mhm.
look like they should be the American dream, and the opioid crisis like severely impacted their family. And It was actually pretty good. I'm intrigued by the information that was shared, because a lot of it was just basically that the pharmaceutical company that pushed out a lot of these opioids was miseducating doctors on the impact of these drugs.
Yeah,
So,
pharmaceutical in the Sackler family.
was it Purdue Pharma
Um, was it
in the
Purdue? Yeah,
Sattler
it was.
family?
It was.
Mhm.
And the Sackler family.
Yeah.
They were, pretty much so behind this, encouraging, the salespeople to lie to
And there
doctors.
were big commission checks. I mean, like,
Extremely big commission. They had humongous incentives but they didn't understand either how dangerous the drugs were. The salespeople, how are they to know? They're only going by what their bosses are telling them to an extent.
there was some information that was available that was kind of a red flag. It was a
Like,
little red flaggy,
yeah.
but I think those commission checks, the 7 grand a month, and this was the 90s, what, like
Mhm.
90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I think that the desire to generate revenue superseded what
And they
was
were
in the best
hustling.
interest of, like, the of society. Because and we say it all the time, I think among the Black community is like, where's the outcry for the crack epidemic of the 80s? You know what I mean?
Hmm. Well, we know the government pumped that into us personally, but anyway. But it was what was amazing to me, and I said it to Tracy that night. I appreciated their story. I did.
I liked
It was
it. Well, I
definitely,
liked hearing about it. No, I
yeah,
didn't
I
like it, but
appreciated their story, and I understood a lot of where they were coming from. But the thing that just infuriated me so much is, like, she did humanize her family, but she did leave out a lot of the fuckery that her family
so
created
I think,
within
like,
their walls.
low key they just don't get the privilege that they were sitting in,
No, they
even
don't. The
with
sister
all of this going on.
was
So
constantly stealing, never arrested. The mother, this is the best part. The mother forged a doctor's signature. The pharmacist knew it, called the police. When the
so
husband
wait,
came,
what she did was she changed the amount of the pills. That
right,
was a tip
she
off.
changed the amount and she changed the date on the prescription. And
And
so
then
when
sent her
and
husband.
her husband, and when he went, the police were there. So he doesn't know what's going on. He's blindsided, and they're telling them that this is a forgery. And he calls the wife and he's like, "Look, I'm at the pharmacy and they're saying that this is a forgery." And she's like, "What?" She's like, she doesn't even say anything. They let him go. They let him go.
Can't even
Goes
imagine it.
home.
I can't even imagine it, but
Not
go
if he
ahead.
was a Black person, it would not have happened. They let him go. He goes home. He said, "Look, the police are on their way. I'm out." So he's like, "You're going to have to deal with what these police have to say." She, in turn, packs her bags, goes to the airport, gets on a flight to Florida, calls them, and tells them she's in rehab. What?
Yeah.
So
So
they
I
didn't
think
even come right away.
what was kind of deep about this whole thing is, again, this it would have went down so differently for any family of color, across the board. This could only happen to a white woman. I'm so sorry. Like,
Mhm.
it could only happen to, because, like, that's, like I said, they were the image of what people. The mother was a gorgeous woman, like, very stunning, kids good looking, super blonde, like, all that stuff. But it was just wild that, they could shoplift and they could get, and maybe it was the small,
Forgery.
maybe it was a small town. Like, I don't know if they all knew each other. I don't know, but
Ohio, so I don't know how big,
yeah, it
but
was
it was
Jamie
really big.
Boyle.
And
Jamie Boyle is the name of the cinematographer who
okay,
who created that documentary. But what was interesting about it is that she considered her family to be not doing well financially, but they had camcorders, which a lot of families did not have those in the 90s. Like from their
She
upbringing
didn't
from
say
literally
it
from
was the mother who said it consistently. We never had money. We didn't have money.
yeah,
And yet
the
they
mother did say they had no money. But she also wasn't working though all
no,
the time.
she had
She
stayed
eventually started working.
when she was paying for the daughter to go to ice skating lessons.
Yeah.
It sounded like she was primarily paying that by cleaning house, which hey, kudos to
But
her.
they documented everything, phone calls, videos. Like, so this, it just so happened that the sister who made the film always had like an affinity for documenting things, and that's how they were able to splice all this stuff together. And we saw everything from their early childhood to her older sister's career. I guess you could call it a career because she was still kind of high school and college
Mm-hmm.
time when she was doing her ice skating. And it was the ice skating injuries that actually led to her first getting onto pain relief and things
Yeah.
like that. And then the
And
mom had her own medical issues. And again, they were prescribed pain, remedies that were just far beyond what they really needed. And it
yeah,
was it was crazy that mom and daughter both or
the
became
son.
opioid addicts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really good, and kudos to
It
Brown
was good.
for actually having the series. I found it, very interesting and insightful. So, but the other
Yeah.
one we went to, oh my goodness, that was today. We're recording this.
Yes.
This is on a Saturday. Was the Rhode Island Black Film Festival. So
Amazing.
it was. I mean, we ended up only catching what 2.5 films. So, well, yeah, we
Yeah.
two films, and we saw the ending of a panel for one, and that was brought to us by the organizer is Ann Clayton,
She
and
did a
so
phenomenal job.
two
Her
of the
and
film
her
one of the films
volunteers.
we saw. I'm sorry.
I said Anne and her volunteers, like they did an amazing job putting it together.
It was really good, and it was at Brown as well. There were two films that we saw. One was
The
what was
Bannister Project.
the Bannister Project. About You have to watch that because this was done by a young student here in Rhode Island. He's 18 years old, and the Bannister Project is to bring awareness to this Black American who lived here in Rhode Island who was an artist. And
Really,
his
it was a
wife,
couple.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. No, I was saying really it was the couple, like it was
Yeah,
the two
right.
of
And
them.
his wife, what's his wife's name?
Christiana
Christiana
Bannister.
Bannister was a hairdresser. She was indigenous and black.
But
And
not just a hairdresser, a franchise
I was
owner.
getting to that. Yeah, she owned several, and of course, as most Black women were in that time in our, as we'll see with Bethany and Hardison, it wasn't about her just getting and having property and money, and she was a philanthropist. She was a community activist. She was a oh, not a Quaker. What was she? Oh, can't think of it. But, but this is in the 1800s, you all. This is in the
It was
1800s.
incredible. It was incredible what they were doing at the time. And some of the historians in the documentary were just saying like it wasn't even safe to walk the streets because
Mhm,
you could be minding your merry business and just be kidnapped basically and
mhm,
sent down south as a slave, regardless of whether or not you were a free Black person or a person of color, whatever. So it was hot in those streets. And she was feisty. Like the wife was really feisty. And what Ray Rickman said is that this is that the Mr. Bannister said, I'm nothing without my wife. He literally said that in like 1850, whatever, which that was that was huge for him to utter those types of words at that time when women had no right to vote, especially Black women. It was
mhm.
just they seemed like they were like I want to say they're the J and B of Rhode Island.
Power couple. Yeah, and
Yes.
she has a bust in the state house that they had, they worked tirelessly, as you said, Mr. Rickman. worked tirelessly to have that, and now he has a is the bench commissioned or already done?
The bench was being commissioned, and I feel like it was almost finished because they had like lightly displayed it out
Hmm.
wherever it's being um fabricated, but it may be ready. I don't think it's there
Yeah,
yet,
yeah, I don't think so either.
but
But
there's
again,
a
back to the young man who made it. What's his Angel?
Angel Sweeney. Like, and when I tell you top notch documentary,
18.
like
He's 18.
very well done,
Hmm.
extremely well done. And so I'm excited to see what Angel's going to do next. I'm also excited to sit on that bench when it comes to Roger Williams' part
I know. But what
of Mr.
I will
Bannister.
say this, but I do know that his next project is called Sneakerheads, and I know a lot
Yes.
of you. And when we find out the information, because I think it's supposed to be coming out next month in May. So when we do find out, we'll let you know, because I know a lot of young people would love to go see that, and I have all the confidence in the world that he's probably going to do a great job.
My husband Morel will love that.
I
He
know.
is a sneaker head, and it's
Hmm.
about sneakers and the personalities that go. I'm so excited for that. So yeah, we were doing our culture thing.
We
Um,
look at
so
us
we hung out
in our
for quite
culture.
a
So
while. And so in addition to the Bannister project, we also saw Anonymous Beauty, which was my what
invisible
was
beauty, invisible beauty,
Sorry, I mixed up the two.
combined.
Invisible Beauty, which was the draw for me. That's what actually really motivated me to attend the film festival this year. And that was all about Beth Ann Hardison, who in her own right is just like a dynamo. Some people may know that she's the mother of Kadeem Hardison, who played Dwayne Wayne on A Different World. And to some people, that's all they know of her. But what this woman did as far
Yeah.
as advocacy in the fashion world for models, women mostly of color, is beyond. And her personality is bigger than life. Like that was
Hmm.
such a great documentary.
It really was. I mean, I literally came to tears a few times because it was so impactful. And I think I mentioned this after when we did the panel in Boston, just how Black women don't just fight for one group, it's usually to benefit all. And you see
Yeah.
that with someone like Beth Ann, even though she was fighting for, Black models, it really helped the whole industry of fashion. And to
Absolutely.
be, she's how she just started out. I love anybody who, against all odds, just says, I'm going to do it because it's my God given right to do it, and just it's just impressive what she has managed to build in her career. And then after she builds this successful modeling agency, say, you know what, this is not all who I am, walks away and tries to figure out what her next step is going to be. And even though it is coming back to fashion and advocating at a time when Black women were just being completely erased off the runways. And
Yeah.
I really did not know that. And I know you do, because you follow fashions, diligently. But that period of time, what was it, like 99 to the 2000s, where they were just not hiring any Black women to walk down.
And it was the top designers, and it's like the labels that a lot of people worship. Prada in particular was like one of the main culprits. That was,
Yeah, that's
and what she said is that, and any good story always has a historical element to it. Something in history impacts it, and she cited the fall of the Berlin Wall, where they were now able to get all these Russian models and German models who were, in her words, not mine, emaciated
okay.
and had no type of spirit to them. They just became hangers for the clothing. And what I've experienced too from just going to fashion week and fashion shows is oftentimes a model is treated as a hanger. It's not about the model. It's about, okay, it's them walking down and showcasing the clothing. But there's just a way that women of color feel clothes out, even if they're the skinniest stick figure woman that there is. There's just a vibrancy. And then there was like what she didn't talk about in the documentary, which I kind of wish she had, was that explosion of like all the East African models. Like all of a sudden, like these super dark, gorgeous women started becoming the standard for modeling. And I don't know, if she would ever get into that topic, but I didn't know her connection to Tyson Beckford was so deep. I didn't realize that she launched
That's
his
it. I
career with
knew that.
Ralph.
Well, you know what? I'm not like big into fashion, but there were certain periods that I paid attention to. And I did pay a lot of attention to her. And I was telling Tracy earlier that I always liked Ralph Lauren clothes. But it wasn't until Tyson Beckford started doing his spreads that it really spoke to me. I mean, that
He
style,
added life. He added
he
life to it.
is gorgeous. No, he definitely added a oomph to it. And to be dressed in Ralph Lauren clothes, because his whole aesthetic is very preppy, very, very high class basic, because there's a basic and then there's a high
It's
class basic.
giving wealth,
It's extreme wealth. And
casual wealth.
he was the face of that, and that made me love the clothes even more. And um he was just, oh, that's a gorgeous
Stunning, gorgeous.
that's
The,
a gorgeous man.
when they showed that part of him, it's saying like, "Yo, I think we need extra security down here at the mall because they about to tear Macy's up."
Those girls were going crazy.
It was like they said it was as if the Beatles had this, and that's Beth Ann Hardison. That is the power of this Black woman. When all the controversy was going on with Gucci, which is like one of my favorite labels, and they did that stupid lips turtleneck, she
Hmm.
went in. Like she went to the top and was like, "Yo, what are y'all doing?"
Hmm.
And then she also got with my favorite, Dapper Dan, and she's been a muse for so many artists herself. And I was just like, and she still freaking slays to this day. Like that lady would get dressed at 78 years old and just tear it up. She looks freaking amazing, and she's dope.
She's the epitome of New York too. One of the things I really liked about the film is just them filming her walking down the streets of New York. And if you've ever been to New York in the spring and the summertime, that's the best time to go. I
Yeah,
don't care how great you look, New York women know how to put on some clothes. They just do. And
yeah,
it's almost like I remember when we went to Harlem, all the people,
yes.
they weren't even going to the same event that we were going to, but Black women in Harlem, they just walk down the street like they're just stunning. They know how to put
Everybody in
together a look.
Adam Clayton Powell Square, whatever,
Mhm,
just random women just crushing it fashion
mhm.
wise, like
Walking down
just wearing their everyday clothing.
and they were showing her walking down the street. And I literally one of the outfits she had on was a black turtleneck that said, I forget what it said on.
Pleasing.
No, pleasing, right? It was a black sweatshirt, not turtleneck. Black sweatshirt with a little black and white, scarf tied around her neck, and a beautiful jacket and that big old hat.
Yeah, she had like the
Simple
Pharrell
clothing. Simple clothing, but
face.
she just made it look like the
Did
street
you
was the
notice?
way.
Did you notice when they showed her class picture when she was in elementary school? She
Mhm.
was the only one with the scarf on her neck. They had
I
uniforms
did.
on, so all
I
the kids looked the same. Homegirl had her little scarf. She might have been 11,
Mhm.
10, 11 years old, little scarf on her neck. She had that thing since then.
Yeah.
So
I think you can catch it on, because I know it was available on like
it's definitely
Netflix
on
or
streaming platforms.
yeah. It was I ins- I'm just I can't implore you enough to go and watch it because it was really excellent. It was, eye-opening, and it's always great to see, Black icons tell their story.
And
And
executive produced by her and Naomi Campbell, I believe.
no, I think it was just Naomi Campbell. She
Oh,
directed.
okay, just Naomi as the executive
Mhm.
producer.
And that is one thing I didn't know. I didn't know how close she was to. I knew that she represented a lot of them, but a lot of them looked upon her as a mother. She wasn't just, their boss or just their agent. She incorporated these people in as family, and so she was nice.
And
She is like,
Iman. I'm not even going to tell the Iman story because I want people to hear it for themselves. When
okay.
she talks about how she welcomed her into the industry, that's
Hmm.
that kind of had me like, oh,
Hmm. 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 Yeah, very. It was very touching. It was really good. It was very insightful. So I do implore you all to take a listen to that. And now on to our last, and
but not least.
oh, not at all, because this guy is absolutely fabulous. It's Rhode Island's own by way of Jamaica, but he's here now. We had the great opportunity to speak with a poet, a fellow artist here in Rhode Island, Amaziah the Great, also known as Craig Kirkland. And Tracy, can you give the intro?
Yes, I got to do a bio. So I'm going to try to bring Craig's energy because Craig has some energy.
Yeah.
Amaziah the Great brings it. So let me try. Let me clear my throat. Okay. Craig Alton Kirkland, also known as Amaziah the Great, emerged as a versatile artist from Featherbed Lane, Spanish Town, Jamaica. Celebrated for his music, films, and poetry, his journey includes award winning short films like Ghetto Visit, a poignant spoken word piece, and the publication of Don't Cry, dedicated to his children. Now based in Rhode Island, Kirkland continues to inspire audiences performing at venues like Pawtucket Poetry, a weekly event hosted by Lori Kirkland in Pawtucket. Lori herself was featured on Hey Rody and is lauded for her work connecting and motivating poets behind the scenes. So, Amaziah's recent nominations include Best Poet, Spoken Word Entertainer at the IRAWMA International Reggae and World Music Awards, as well as the Motif Spoken Awards, where he is up for nomination, and we'll know after Tuesday night whether he's actually, you know, taking home that honor. But regardless, you got to listen to this interview. You got to take in what this brother has to say, and you got to get his book, which is available on Amazon.
And we will have all this other information up on the website and all our socials as well. So with that, we'll invite the great Amaziah the Great to the podcast.